This video is sponsored by Ren.
Gonna be you and me. Gonna be everything you ever dreamed. Wanna be who you need. Gonna be everything. Gonna be you and me. Gonna be everything you ever dreamed. Wanna be who you need.
And what's crazy is this isn't even the first dance cult I've covered on the channel. What's happening?
Whatever she's involved in, she's got some kind of control over her that is making her afraid of something.
Someone else is controlling their lives, and they're all victims.
God is going to be in this dance, and I will die for that cause.
I am great. I'm actually way more than okay. Thank you for asking.
The guy's got ninjas all over the place.
As a mom, I don't know if she's safe. I don't know if she's okay. I want to just hug her. I just want to know that she's... But even if she were to tell me I'm fine, everything's fine, I know it's not fine.
This story is absolutely wild. It has Meghan Markle, ninja sheep, and clowns. I promise that'll make sense in like 25 minutes when I'm finished. In this video, I'm going to be throwing around a lot of
allegedlys
and
supposedlys.
because the Shin family, one of the main subjects of this video, boy, they
do love suing people.
Now, I want to start off this by saying that most people focus on Miranda, and no doubt she's the main reason why a lot of people became familiar with the 7M controversy. But because Miranda's story is so widely covered, there's entire subreddits dedicated to it, I want to focus more on 7M as an entire organization, because I think that'll give more context to how Miranda and these other dancers are most likely being used by the organization. To truly understand this whole TikTok dance cult mess, we actually have to first learn the history of, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Krump. This is Tie Dyes, dancer, man of God, and one of the creators of Krump. Krump was created in the early 90s in the streets of Compton and Watts. In some of the roughest neighborhoods in Los Angeles, a clown by the name of Tommy started a revolution.
Holla at your boy, man. We clowning out. I show you how to heel to the toe with it. Wilding out with the child. You hear the sound. The beat is in my body and I roll with it.
All you hear is Tommy dances, Tommy this, Tommy that. I want to go to Tommy Academy. Matter of fact, I have a 10-year-old son that's trying to get into the academy. So I think that it's wonderful, and he needs to keep up the good work, and he needs to be commended.
See, by teaching children dancing, Tommy was giving these kids a non-violent, positive form of self-expression. Because without Tommy, a lot of these kids would have had to turn to gangs, or maybe even worse. It's crazy to think that at the same time as the Rodney King riots, there were literal groups of clowns roaming the streets in some of the most dangerous parts of East LA. Man, Tommy rules. These kids rule. And honestly, it seems like clowning was something super positive for the community. Tommy didn't have any agenda. He just wanted to genuinely help these kids. This footage is from the 2005 film Rise, which chronicled the clowning and Krump movement of the early 2000s. See, as certain dancers developed more explosive, more sharp movements, they were seen as too different from the laid-back, fun style of dancing that clowning was known for, so they had to create their own niche. They had to create Krump. Now, the thing about Krump is, like, I know when like the masters of Krump do it, it looks cool. The thing about Krump is, I think Krump is a lot like improv comedy. When it's good, it's great. But when it's even mediocre, it's very, very bad. One of the first dancers to actually leave Tommy and start the Krump movement was Tie Dyes. Tie-Dyes has been in movies, documentaries, all kinds of stuff, and he's become the face of Crump. I can't overstate this. In the dance community, he's massive. Tie-Dyes is also devoutly religious, and his relationship with God bleeds heavily into his relationship with Crump.
But what I do and what you feel comes from heaven. What I do is dedicated to God. I'm not forcing you into Christianity, but there is a certain standard that we hold in righteousness. Now, I'm not saying you won't mess up, you won't fall off the way, you won't sin. But when you do something, when you do this, something happens to you that's beyond knowledge. You can lab up all day, but what you feel when you get live, it's no explanation for that.
The way he talks about Crump almost makes it feel like a physical manifestation of speaking in tongues, if that makes sense. Because of his instrumental role in the creation of Crump, Christianity and Crump have always been strangely tied together.
That God is going to be in his dance, and I will die for that cause, because you will not take the creator of all things out of something that he created. Every single group in LA that's not Street Kingdom is anti-Christ.
So somebody so influential, such a role model in an art form that desperately helps people that need role models, should certainly be careful who they go into business with, shouldn't they? In 2014, Tie-Dyes had to apologize to the Crump community because of his involvement in a cult. To be clear, not 7M, a different cult.
When you first get saved, your mind is very moldable. Like you're like a militant soldier. Whatever orders you given, you try to carry it out to the best of your ability because you want to impress the officer. Because I was only following orders. But since now that I've been let down by men, so-called men and women of God.
A cult where he also recruited fellow dancers Concrete and B-Dash, who B-Dash we'll get back to later because, believe it or not, that's Miranda's current husband. So it's not hard to believe that cult leaders could probably see Tie-Dye's status in the dance community as a powerful tool to recruit other dancers. The cult they were a part of was no joke. It was a Christian ministry run by David Gurley. Without a Crystal Ball reports that Gurley spent time in prison in Oregon for rape and sexual assault. And you'd think having to apologize to the community, having to swallow your pride, and go in front of all these people that look up to you and say, I screwed up, would make you have to, I don't know, second guess who you get into business with again? 7M would tell you that they're in fact not a cult, that they're just a management company that just so happens to be owned by the pastor of the Shekinah Church and staffed entirely by its members, but they're not the same organization, even though all the same people work there and they're owned by the same people. Stop thinking that they're the same thing, you fucking idiot. You dumbass. They're not the same. They're different. They're totally different. They're run by the same folks and out of the same place. They have the same addresses, but they are different, god damn it. B-Dash even went on his social media to say that the church and 7M Films are not connected in any way. Now, okay. There was a 2013 lawsuit in which Robert Shin, the leader of 7M Films, said that all of his employees were members of the church, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything, dude. In fact, that 2013 lawsuit was all about how he didn't pay his staff members properly. Yeah, it turns out that this whole time he wasn't paying any of the people that worked for him the correct amounts of money. He was kind of taking it out of their accounts. At least that's what the lawsuit was about. And the whole time that he's ripping these people off, supposedly, I don't want to get sued, he's making them give him honor the man of God payments, which are like, what the fuck is that? An honor the man of God payment? Have you ever made an honor the man of God payment? They're like gifts from people in his congregation because they think he's like, I don't know, chosen by God to live in Toluca Lake and lead them. Like, I don't get it. This lawsuit found that Robert was writing checks to himself out of the bank accounts of members of his congregation, which also, why does your pastor need your banking login? That should be a red flag. In the court document, the plaintiff even talks about how she wasn't even allowed to leave her post for lunch and go eat where she wanted to, and her housing was also tied to her job, which was contingent on attending the church. So I think saying that you don't need to be involved in the Shekinah Church at all to be represented by 7M Films simply might not be true. Obviously, I can't prove anything. I'm just an overweight comedian with too many Spider-Man posters, but that doesn't mean I can't try to paint you a picture of the hypocrisy. I mean, a judge in one of their lawsuits said that it seemed like the church members had pretty much given up their free will. So anyway, all that preamble has been to set up some history, some patterns for you to start to notice. For B-Dash, Robert Shin, and Tight-Eyes. And to try to show you that the idea of them being in a fringe religious group that controls far too much of their lives is not that far-fetched. You may be saying, oh, that was 10 years ago. Maybe they're being a lot less controlling now. Well, these leaked emails might claim otherwise. And hey, if you guys want to say that I didn't do enough research for this, if you're going to email me, go ahead and just also forward, CC Hannah on that, because she needs to be CC'd on everything. So it would appear that 7M controls, at the very least, all the financials for their clients. I don't even know what you would call them, members? And you might say that doesn't seem like a big deal if they're just a bunch of TikTok kids. It's just some brand deal money. But these guys are getting Toyota commercials. They're performing at NBA games. They're maybe getting Ellen to promote possibly fake Ukraine charities that she then had to backpedal. Anyway, my point is, these kids are making shmoney, and given Robert's track record, it's easy to see why some people are worried that they might not be getting compensated fairly. A lot of their brand deals have also been super shady. Like, they'll post brand deals on Instagram or TikTok, and when people have reached out to the brands, they actually have no history of doing business with anybody related to 7M Films. I don't really know what the point of posting fake brand deals would be. I mean, why would you when you could have a real brand deal like I have today? I want to take a couple minutes today to thank my sponsor, Ren. When Ren approached me to do an ad partnership, I was actually really excited because Ren is exactly the type of company that I would like to recommend to my viewers. To say it simply, Ren helps you offset your carbon footprint, but that's not all they do. You see, when you offset your carbon footprint on Ren, there's a lot of different, unique, and awesome causes that you're able to support by simply trying to do better for the environment. From the Biochar in California project, which helps try to keep wildfires at bay, literally where I live, to a clean cooking fuel for refugees project in Uganda. There's some really, really great stuff that Ren is a part of, and a lot of people say that these projects are legitimately life-changing. Ren is a simple and effective way to make a legitimate difference in the climate crisis. You can simply go on their website, calculate your carbon footprint, then offset it by funding a diverse mix of carbon reduction projects. And then once you sign up and make monthly contributions, you get updates on the projects that you're supporting. So definitely, if this interests you at all, offset your carbon footprint on Ren. The first 100 people to sign up using the link in the description will get 10 extra trees planted in their name. Fuck yeah. Wow. Now that we've learned how to save the environment, let's get back to the cult. The Daily Beast actually interviewed Miranda's sister Melanie about the whole thing.
Churches are, which I guess is good in most cases, but not this. Churches are very protected in the state of California, and they're all adults, and they're doing everything on their free will. We can't find anything illegal happening besides complete brainwashing, which you can't really prove. So unfortunately, because they're all adults, there's nothing anyone can do.
However, someone who used to be on the inside of the cult has recently come forward. A woman by the name of Lydia Chung had a lawsuit with Robert Shin. Over a period of time, he systematically stole nearly $4 million from her.
Allegedly.
And she sued Robert for stealing, brainwashing, and completely cutting her off from her family. God, why does that sound familiar? Now, some say that Robert's teachings at the Shekinah Church are tied to something called the Seven Mountain Mandates. A representative for the Shekinah Church has said that they're actually in no way related to the Seven Mountain Mandates. And the M in their name actually stands for millennium, but okay, dog, then what the fuck does 7 millennium mean, motherfucker? That's also nothing. Plus, Lydia Chung has said that they were part of the Seven Mountain Mandates, and the Seven Mountain Mandates is based off of a Bible verse called Isaiah 2:2, and Robert's son, who's also the director and cinematographer of much of their online content, is named Isaiah. So between those two things, I find it hard to believe that they're not part of the 7M church thing. Granted that they're named 7M, and they're a church thing, and their kid is named after it. Seven Mountain Mandates devotees believe the scriptures spell out a prophecy that in order to establish God's kingdom on earth, they need to immerse themselves and invade the 7 aspects of modern society. which are family, religion, education, media, entertainment, business, and government. The idea behind the Seven Mountain Mandates is that the people of their congregation would work almost like sleeper cell agents of Christianity. So they would invade into becoming judges or executive producers or senators and then come out and unmask as Christian.
Ninja sheep are those people that have to be like special forces. They run silent, run deep. Esther was one of those ninjas. She was tucked away on the inside of the institution so that at the right time she could detonate her identity and blow up the devil's scheme from the inside out. So God's got ninjas all over the place.
And one of Shekinah Church's pastors even made a letter to their neighbor that said one of the main goals of the church was to make its way into the entertainment industry, which might explain why Robert has so many media companies to his name, just making some great stuff like this.
If you come down to Shekinah, bet you're gonna find some people who live.
Robert even produced this god-awful Meghan Markle film from 2013. He produces a lot of these like Redbox originals. Even Tide Eyes made this weird sketch, I guess. Tide Eyes make sketches now about how everybody online says that a lot of these marriages seem like they might be fake or arranged. I mean, a lot of people are saying that given the fact that nobody's family is ever even really notified until after it's supposedly already happened.
Babe, I can't sleep.
Why you can't sleep?
They said our marriage is fake.
That making me sad too. Why you think they saying that stuff, baby?
I think it's because I lost 35 pounds.
I think it's because I ain't living in poverty no more.
I think it's because we didn't put it on Instagram.
Oh, man, we done done wrong. We ain't take no pictures. We ain't telling anybody it was our decision. We ain't care about nobody else's approval. We just want to be in love.
But ain't that what you're supposed to do?
That's how they say it was from the fake marriage, bitch.
I didn't even know I was in a fake marriage until 4 days ago.
Tide Eyes tries to make fun of this like there's no reason anyone should question whether these marriages are real when Tide Eyes was married to a different woman as recently as November. In fact, B-Dash and Tide Eyes wives both claim that they're still legally married to them. And B-Dash's ex-wife actually claims that she got married in that last cult to B-Dash and it was arranged. So the idea of them doing arranged marriages in this new supposed cult, again, isn't that crazy to me. See, a lot of the 7M people will try to gaslight that nothing's happening, that this is so bizarre and this is so outlandish, but when you look at everybody's histories, to me at least, it's really not that crazy. Tide Eyes, in my opinion, is one of the worst people in this supposed cult because he should know better. Not only has he been in a cult before, he's one of the oldest people involved and genuinely should be able to look at the impact he has on the Crump community and the people that need to look up to him as a mentor and as a role model and see that he's letting them down. It seems strange to get back into business with people that you could easily see from a couple Google searches have a history of taking advantage of people. I wish I had better closing thoughts to go out on other than maybe we just jammed to a little Shekinah Church worship.
If you come down to Shekinah, bet you're gonna find some people who live. You don't have to worry, cause you got no money. People at Shekinah are happy to give. Jesus, keep on walking. Holy Spirit, keep on moving.